So you were doing some reconnaissance work?
Oh yeah, we always went out on squads.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you're
Was this during the day or did you wait till nighttime?
both. Mainly we were daytime, but there was some done at night.
When you were in Holland, did it remind you of any place in the United States at all?
Not Holland.
Okay.
Beautiful.
But completely
First time I seen the windmills.
Yeah? What was that like?
Oh, that was nice. They had them big windmills, and they were for grinding the grain. They were wheels in there, but they didn't last long because they were observation towers. So they took them out. Most of them were gone by the time we left. In fact, that one town, I don't remember the name of it, but it was a beautiful little town. And when we left it, there was nothing. It was level to the ground.
They shelled
by the
it?
time they got done, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But them windmills, see, they took them right out because you could get up there and you could see for a mile down the road there.
When you were deployed, do you recall seeing formations of American aircraft at all?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they were bombers going over.
How did that make you feel when you saw it?
Oh, man, that's great, man. I mean, they're filling the sky. Yeah, right there in Holland, as the British was making their tea there on the road, and we're right here. Boy, they're going over by the load, you know, one after another.
Mm-hmm. Did you ever find time to write home? Did you have enough time to write back home to the U.S.?
Not when you was on the field. When you was back at the barracks, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But when you're back out on the field, you didn't have much time for that.
When you were in Holland, did you have any Germans surrender to you at all?
Not to us in particular, no.
Mm-hmm.
They took them out of there by the truckloads.
Okay.
We seen them going down. But what they were doing was putting a warrant officer who flew the gliders in. They were put them with the truck taking the prisoners back. That's how they got back.
Mm-hmm. When was the first time you saw your first German? Was it in Holland?
Yeah. Yeah, Holland there. We were there and things are quiet. See, when we went into that particular spot, we were all lined up. In other words, company so-and-so, company here, company there, all lined up. Well, we woke up the next morning and somebody didn't tell us that they had pulled out. And we were all by ourselves. There was nobody else there. And that's the sergeant, our sergeant, says, well, you guys stay here and I'll go back and I'll find out what's going on. And I said, we all volunteered. We'll go with you. A couple will go with you. Nah, I'll handle it. He says, you guys stay right where you're at, keep down, we'll find out what happened. And because we were under real heavy fire the night before, shells, bullets, everything. In fact, the guy right alongside of us, he got hit right around the neck there, you know, and they took him out. And but what happened during the night? Somebody forgot to tell somebody that they were moving out.
Wow.
So he went out, and he was gone. Never seen him again. We got a letter from him. He was a POW. Walked around the corner and run right into somebody. If you take somebody with him, but he spent some time. He said it was hard, but he worked morning to night. But I guess he made it all right. The last letter we got, but he went right around the corner and he bumped in there. But so yeah, I had my first time was we were there and it was quiet, nothing going on. We just sitting tight, trying to figure out, well, shall we go back? Shall we start looking, or what shall we do? It was about maybe 6 or 7 of us. That's all we had in the squad there. So I looked over there, and there's a guy, 2 Germans standing there. I put them, boom, you know, and I shot. He said, what's the matter? I said, and 2 of them right over there. I said, I don't know whether I got him or not, but I said, what are we going to do? He said, well, let's get out of here. I mean, there ain't nobody around with us chickens here, you know. We ain't got no, I don't know how many guys are over there, but we ain't got none here. So we went back up the trenches and come down the other side. And this is what I was telling you earlier about the souvenirs. Here's 2 German young guys laying there dead. And I thought to myself, man, I know they got stuff on them. But you're going to take a chance. Today you would think to yourself, well, you was moving fast enough. They probably couldn't do too much. They probably just lay there and the rest of them took off. But I didn't want to take a chance, turn that guy over and have a grenade go off. But you wonder how much, but like I was telling you, the guys that came in to clean up, they're the guys that got all the souvenirs. Man, they got a lot of good stuff. That's how the black market got all that. Well, I guess that's where my pistol come from at the time, because we didn't get them, but we should have got them. But you didn't take time to do that.
So your souvenirs that you got were from other.
These guys, sure, they had it made. I mean, believe it or not, people think war is bad, but people make profit. People make everything. It's easy. I mean, good gravy. We've seen that many a time, even in the States. When we took our own prisoners out on stockade duty, you're riding down there, 2 or 3 guards, and you got a dozen prisoners there. Next thing you know, the truck pulls up, and you stop, and you say, what's going on? These guys start hauling out 5 gallons of gasoline off the bottom of the truck, put them all on the road and cover them up. Just don't look. And away they go. I think to myself, man, these guys are making a fortune. And even when I went back, after I got wounded, and they took me back to France first, and them guys were taking boots and everything. They didn't make a buck. I mean,
gotcha.
It's sad, but it's there.
Yep.
People don't realize it, but it's there.
So how did your squad make it out of that ditch that you guys were in? You just pick up and move back?
Well, I'll tell you what happened. We had about 6 of us, and the one guy, he was a sergeant, but he was like a supply sergeant. So he was more or less supposed to take a little leadership. If you got the guy with the stripes, you can do what you want. But back there, if I know what I know today, I'd have done a lot more than I did, because I'd have got lost for a month. They wouldn't be able to fire me for a month. I could have had a good time. But anyhow, 3 guys went one way and 3 guys went the other way, and we all got back to the thing. It took us a while, but we got back.
Okay. So, is there anything else about Holland you want to share before we talk about you moving out?
The only thing about Holland, they're nice people.
Okay.
In other words, we've seen it firsthand. The girls that associated with the Germans when they were in there, they took them down to Times Square, the main thing, shaved their hair all off. Now, I got some good souvenirs there. Wooden shoes from Holland, stuff like that. But they were good people. They didn't, you weren't with no women over there. They didn't want nothing to do with Americans.
Right.
That was one thing. They were a nice place.
That's good.
Not like Bastogne.
So that was the next place you went. But between Holland and Bastogne, what happened? Did they give you some leave? Did they give you some break from the fighting?
No, what happened there was they patent outrun. We had at least two, that we went on standby. And every time you do that, they take you to a big place, and then the officers wait on you. Oh, big meal and all, you're going to feed the pigs before you slaughter them, you know what I mean? But they had the officers wait on you, you had this big meal and all, and we were ready to go in 2 other places. And each time we got ready to go, Patton bypassed it. That Patton, he saved our tails a couple of times. And he's even the guy that come up to Bastogne in the end. So, but we went 2 other missions we were supposed to have, and they canceled them out until we went, the next time we went into Bastogne.
So were you in France during this time?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I was in Paris when they come got us that night. They come in trucks and picked us all up, and that's where they put us up in Bastogne. Well,
did they tell you what was going on in Bastogne?
No.
They just said it's time to go.
What they did, they come in, picked us up, and like I say, we were all under the weather. I mean, we were in bad shape, and but all our equipment was in ordnance. when we come back out of Holland. Everything was in it. Some guys didn't have helmets, some guys didn't have guns. And we come back to camp, they put us back to camp, told us to get ready, and that's when they turn around and hand you a rifle, 8 shots, and 4 hand grenades. That's it. And then he took us on the trucks, drove right up, parked, get out, and then they went back, and they left us right there. And that's what, next thing you know, we were surrounded.
Mm-hmm.
But that's...
So did you move from that spot, or is that the place where you stayed?
Well, we spent most of the time right around that. That was where the road come into Bastogne.
From the south side?
Yeah, I guess, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where we had that old people lived in that house. Right there, that was an outpost.
Okay, so you're in an outpost on the outside of Bastogne.
Right there, and the squad would come down. The guy carried a great big BAR in the middle of the road, and the guys were down the side of the road. And when he came down to the outpost, he told us the first time he come down, he said, now whatever you do, don't click that rifle. That's safety, because if you do, you're dead. He said, we're just going to open up. So they went back and forth during the night, and they'd come down, patrol the place, and we'd be here. And then, I don't know how long we stayed there before they pulled us back into around Bastogne. And that's where Christmas night they bombed the living daylights out of Bastogne. Mm-hmm. They knocked that thing right down to nothing. Mm-hmm. Well, we were on the outskirts and we could see it. The planes coming in and going out, and they really bombed that thing out. But that's where we were on Christmas Eve, and Christmas morning is where that tank was in there. And we tried to take him out with a .30 caliber, try to protect them guys, which was just plain nonsense. It just didn't work, but we learned a lot. Don't get on a machine gun. And that tank had snuck in, and it was sitting there. And I know one of the buddies of mine said, George, we're sorry, we were out there last night, but we couldn't stop that guy. He was coming through. He says, so he's sitting down there, and there ain't nothing we can do about it. And that was when we turned around. He said, well, we'll go down there with a bazooka. And they sent 2 guys down there. And the lieutenant says, we need some guys on a machine gun, cover them guys. So, come on, buddy, you know, gung-ho. My buddy was on the pull the trigger, and I'm beating the thing, you know. And there was at least 3 machine guns and lined up. So as soon as they fired that bazooka at the tank, you could say maybe they didn't know what they were doing, or maybe the thing wasn't worth nothing. I never did have any faith in them. They bounced off. Well, the minute it bounced off the tank, they knew they got hit. They swung around with the 250s. 50s went right over my head. I can still see them today. Thank goodness he was shooting high. And the shell came in from the 88. That went over our head. And when that went off, it knocked out the machine gun like it was nothing. But I never even know I was hit that morning. It went right